London, 1st of March 2017. A special event team is preparing to launch a brand new car.
Vegetarian, salmon and mozzarella. Copy? Let's prepare.
1,000 VIPs and celebrities will be coming through the door in less than an hour.
Hugely nervous, of course. Always get nervous before a big reveal. But I think it's going to be great. Really excited to see it. And we're so close now.
The creation of an entirely new car is a major task. Taking a team of thousands and years of effort and collaboration.
Many sleepless nights, always thinking about how to make something better.
A unique group of people joined in one common purpose.
Every single surface on that car has gone through weeks and weeks of development.
This is a world where skilled craftsmanship meets sophisticated technology, where experimentation is taken to the extremes.
We need to make sure we build up a 4 mil thickness of ice in that area.
And the car itself is pushed to the limit. This is a story of individual passion and shared endeavour, of a cutting-edge machine and the people who created it.
Obviously, this is not a standard day in the office.
One more individual.
Thousands of individual human decisions
30 minutes left until show ready.
have all led to this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Range Rover Velar.
This story began in 2013, here in the Midlands at Jaguar Land Rover, Britain's biggest car manufacturer. With over 40,000 employees, the company makes over 500,000 vehicles each year. It accounts for 2% of all UK exports and contributes £10 billion to the UK economy. But designing and engineering a completely new car is far from straightforward. In its first 46 years, the company released just 3 new Range Rover models. Setting out to create the fourth, the £50,000 Velar, would be a major undertaking. But inspiration was close at hand.
As a designer, first and foremost, modernity has always been with me from a very early age. You know, I grew up in Coventry, which was rebuilt after the Second World War, and it took on that international style of modernism. So I've always been of the view that less is more. And, you know, modernism has always been about reductionism. If there's a line on a car that you don't need, well, it shouldn't be there in the first place. That doesn't mean to say design can't be a celebration. Design can still be theatrical, it can be glamorous, but the core of the design, for me, should be about modernity.
I believe in purity in design. I believe in simplicity, which is the hardest thing in design, but it's also the aspect that will give you a timeless quality.
We don't want to do anything ordinary. We could have just done something that was a bigger version of Evoque or a smaller version of Range Rover Sport. It's not. It's something that is unique, that has its own unique character.
The first ever Range Rover, codenamed the Velar during its development, was released in 1970. It soon became the go-to vehicle for those seeking an all-terrain status symbol. For the design team, recognizing this heritage without being bound by it would be crucial for the project to succeed.
Because Land Rover has such a strong heritage, that can become quite complicated. So the ability for the whole design team is to capture the essence of those key elements and then give that modern interpretation that allows the brand to move forward.
You end up at a given point in time with a whole set of ingredients, let's say. And the trick is to take those ingredients and cook them in a way that's appropriate for today, that's relevant, that's contemporary.
But there's far more to designing a new car than coming up with an original drawing.
Today we're cutting a full-size clay car with a 5-axis milling machine. The 5-axis machine is very, very accurate. We can get to within 0.01 of a mil.
The drill bit follows a pre-programmed route, cutting a full-scale model car from a 3-ton block of clay.
This is the era we're in. What they design on screen is what they want to see for real. Scale, detail, it's very precise.
But such precision comes at a price.
These machines we paid roughly $500,000 for each. The clay that we're actually using on the model isn't the standard clay that you would use or find in the ground. It's a little bit more synthetic. The clay that you find in the ground is a little bit too soft for what we need. Obviously, when it's on the machine, we need the model to harden up a little bit so that we get a nice cutting motion with the cutter. Otherwise, it ends up clagging and all sticking to the car again. It takes about 3 days, roughly. It'll end up looking like a real car.
With milling finally underway on the full-size clay model, the trim shop team is working on the car's interior.
We could look at different ways that we could tack it or not tack it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We might want to use black, and on the white we might want to use light.
These are people that come from a wide variety of backgrounds. For example, Holly, she comes from making costumes in the theater. We had some people that also had experience making shoes or leather products.
Is that possible? Can you have the pitch consistent here, and then when it starts to go over the label, can it start to be smaller? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
Great.
All these different points of view helps us come to creative solutions.
The team plans to pair the latest wool blend fabrics from a Danish textile company called Kvadrat with a microfiber suede material made from recycled bottles. They hope the detailed decisions they make here will help set the car apart from its rivals. Over in the design studio, the newly milled clay car is slowly taking shape.
I think this can do with a little bit off.
Okay. Just to exaggerate the arch. Okay.
Thanks.
The clay modelling team are all industry veterans.
I went straight from school into an apprenticeship as a model maker. As a progression from that, I just got a chance to work on some clay models. I guess it must be about 23, 24 years I've been doing it myself now. Travelled all over the world, different companies.
The importance of a clay modeler is just as important as the role of a designer, because the designers have an idea in mind, but the execution, the physical execution on the model is through a clay modeler. So You can see how this skill is so important to us.
As modelers, we know how surfaces work, and we can guide the designer certain ways, and obviously the designers want the model in certain styles, and we try our best to give them what we can, you know. So, but yeah, we have a big part to play in the process.
Clay modelers are the hands of a designer, so they are so critical.
At regular intervals, the team applies a vinyl film that simulates the appearance of a painted surface.
That's nice. Oh, what's this?
Yeah, it's okay.
I think it's working out well.
You're reading it a lot better down there.
It's got a bit more tension as well.
It's a lot stronger down there.
Yeah, I think it's very good.
Good.
Well done.
Thank you.
But creating a modern-looking car takes more than the work of designers and clay modelers. Design simplicity is a challenge for the engineering team as well.
As engineers, we're fanatical about the way we design parts. Many, many sleepless nights, always thinking about how to make something better.
Lee is developing a new deployable door handle for the car.
Effectively, from the outside of the car, it appears as though there is no door handle. Press the button to deploy it, and that allows you then to use the door handle as you would do on a normal Range Rover. Using the button again, the handle returns to a flush position.
This test car, known as the E-Cube, is made from solid aluminium. It allows Lee to precisely gauge how components fit together.
The E-Cube's milled to perfect geometry with a tolerance of maximum 0.1 millimetres. Worth about £1 million. With all the parts on top, you're looking at around about 2.
Today, Lee and his colleague Andy Robertson are scanning the new handles to ensure a flush fit.
OK, Andy, we're going to look specifically at the cover tolerances to the handle.
OK, so how about the detail around the button there? Do you need a little bit more than that?
Absolutely, yeah. If we can get some scans around the button, the flushness to the cover.
Yep, no problem.
We're scanning using a GOM scanner. It's the best way we can possibly understand all of the details of every element of the handle and make sure that the handle flushness and fit is perfect to the door skin.
The scanner fires 1 million laser beams per second, creating a 3D map of the door handle.
OK, let's have a look what we've got.
Brilliant.
OK.
So we can see straight away perfect alignment and flushness. The gap.
Is that enough data around those edges there?
I think so. The quality in that area now is absolutely perfect.
OK, we need to get a little bit from underneath, I think, and that should be pretty good for that.
Precision is vital if the engineers are to deliver the designer's ideas.
Design come to us with a vision. It's our job to make that happen. Although it's just a handle to most people, to us, it's everything.
The relation with the engineers is a very close one. Design is not just styling. It's not about arranging lines. Design is really linked closely with engineers.
Design is a collaborative process. It's a multidisciplinary task. And you can tell that the best designs have always been achieved by a collaboration of design and engineering. I've never seen such a desire for collaboration between designers and engineers, to the point that when people are working, you almost can't tell who is the designer and who is the engineer.
For a deeper review, we like to paint the model properly. It's a full paint job, then we take it outside, and to untrained eyes, it looks like a real car, and that's exactly what we need. We need a clay model that really represents as close as possible the final vehicle.
From concept drawing to finished clay model, it's a remarkable transformation.
Nothing can replace the natural light outside, even when it's raining, because the natural light gives you a true representation of what the car is going to look like in the real world. Seeing the model now with the paint, it really gives you a very clear view, and I think it just looks fantastic, actually. We're very happy. The moment that we'll unveil Range Rover Velar, it will be a great moment. It's going to be an emotional moment for me personally, for everyone who's worked on this project. You think always back 3-4 years when you first started, the first challenges, you know, everything seems so compressed and so long in time, but then, you know, it just goes away in that moment when you're unveiling the car to the public. And it's really what motivates you, what really drives you to be a designer.
The Velar's striking proportions and precision detailing are unlike anything else in its class. But these achievements are not just the work of the designers.
You can hear there. There's some real performance on the exhaust.
But it's refined, yeah?
It's refined, yeah.
Engineers Andy Mould and Mark Burniston are testing the high-speed performance of the 3-litre V6 supercharged engine in a prototype. The camouflage paint job helps disguise the car's design until it is released to the public. This is the first time designers Jeremy Waterman and David Eberer have seen the car on the move.
It's fantastic just to see the car in motion.
Yeah, front end is so powerful. That's really cool.
I tell you what, I'm going to just run through the engine speed.
Yeah, should we listen to that?
See how it builds.
With a 0 to 60 time of just 5.23 seconds, the Velar has a top speed of 155 miles per hour.
So that's really nice.
It is, isn't it?
The bottom end is rich, and the top end gives you that lovely crescendo just as the engine's starting to get towards that red line point.
Well, the guy's going to be pleased to hear that, because a lot of work's gone in to deliver that.
It's just a fantastic moment, I think, for all of us, everyone involved, to finally see this car.
It makes the actual artwork we do suddenly come into context and make sense.
We've obviously seen this clay car, this static vehicle, and we design things which have, you know, are there to be driven in motion. And it's...
I mean, we've spent so long trying to make it look dynamic as a static object.
Yeah, like it's moving when you're standing still.
And then to actually see that moving. You can tell if it looks that good now as well with the camouflage, as soon as it's got all the details on it as well, it's just
exactly,
going to pop.
Yeah.
It's going to really, really look great.
The engineering team behind the new car comes from an eclectic mix of backgrounds.
There's such a kind of stigma around engineering, where it's seen as something that's like really kind of greasy or dirty, or something that like is just for men, or it's all about building bridges or building roads, and it's really not about that at all. And I think my job really shows that.
In her spare time, Orla Murphy plays for the prestigious Birmingham Philharmonic Orchestra. In her day job, she develops the acoustic systems inside new cars.
I work to improve the audio systems in all of our vehicles. It's to try to make the listening experience as enjoyable and immersive as possible. To have like a good ear and to really like be able to listen and to make decisions and be confident in your decision is very important. I love working in engineering. I think I have a really cool job. So some people say if you work in a job you like, you never work a day in your life. So that's always a good thing.
Today, Orla is working on the car's sound system. But vehicle interiors don't lend themselves to perfect audio.
A car is a challenging acoustic environment because you have some really absorbent materials like the leather in the seats and then some really reflective materials like the glass.
Orla positions microphones to record acoustic reflections from the car's speakers.
So these microphones are listening, so this would be maybe a short person's pair of ears, a medium height person's pair of ears and a tall person's pair of ears.
Microphone set, Orla begins the test. This is pink broadband noise.
I often go to sleep at night dreaming this sound. It does drive you a little mad.
But it enables Orla to detect the parts of the car where there's too much reflection or absorption of sound.
We can see where there might be perhaps a little bit too much reflection, and then with filters we can counteract that, and that's really important because you want every note to sound really equal in all the listening positions. You don't want it to sound different, maybe driver to passenger or front to rear.
Yet there's more to the Velar's acoustic wizardry.
We can trick the brain into thinking that the music you're listening to is actually being played in a concert hall.
Even a fraction of a second's delay on the sound's arrival from individual speakers can make all the difference.
If you add a little bit of delay, you can kind of increase that sense of space. And also with more and more speakers, you can raise the soundstage up, and then it really feels like you're listening to live music. So it's really exciting working on a car kind of behind the scenes because you're working on it kind of a good few months or maybe even up to a year before it's really released in the public, and also get feedback from kind of customers or from the market. If we get feedback saying, you know, the sound system's really amazing and different people would often rate it, then that's really good to kind of get some feedback on all the hard work you've put into the vehicle. I'm particularly proud of this vehicle. It was one of the first vehicles that I've tuned from start to finish. I'm really excited for the day when it is going to be launched.
Morning, gents. Morning. How are we doing?
Not too bad.
Lee and his team are preparing to test the car's new door handles.
Gloves.
And they're going to need all the cold weather gear they can get.
Okay, it's ready?
Yeah.
Because today, they'll be testing a prototype in the extreme conditions of Land Rover's climatic chamber.
What temperature are we at?
-20.
Ice testing the handles at -20 degrees Celsius mimics the challenging nighttime conditions of the Russian winter.
Okay, so what we want to do, try and get a general spread across the whole of the car. And then particular intensity all around the handle area. We need to make sure we build up a 4mm thickness of ice.
Lovely, lovely.
After an hour of spraying, the car is nearly ready. But Lee is keen to make the test that little bit tougher.
Okay. We've got 12 litres of water applied to the exterior of the vehicle at -20. I want to add a small film of water over the top, really test out the handle. So the ice is around 3mm at the moment. Just add that extra layer of 1mm.
A final dusting of ice helps finish the job.
That's almost all of it now. You can see all the shut gaps on the doors are completely covered in ice. That's great.
The car is now ready for testing. The handles are solidly frozen shut.
It's the hardest condition we've ever tested the handle to. There's 4 mil of ice on there and a snow dusting as well. Fantastic. So you can see the areas where the ice is broken, the handle's powered through, even though this is 4 mil thick. Fantastic.
From door handles to infotainment systems, new cars are ever more reliant on electronics. And this one has over 10 kilometers of cabling. James Foss is responsible for ensuring all the car's electrical components work seamlessly.
I've had a love of cars ever since I was younger. Ever since I was 3, I was able to start naming all of the makes of cars on the road. Used to drive my grandma absolutely bonkers. Never thought I'd get a job in the automotive career.
Over 1/4 of car production costs are now taken up by electrical engineering, and the industry is changing fast.
The complexity of the car is huge now. Like we have approximately 50 main modules which we have to supply software and calibrations for. Each one of these is essentially the same as a small computer, like your mobile phone inside a car, all working together, all talking on the same network. Electrical engineers in automotive are the next big thing. Everything is driving towards electric vehicles, self-driving vehicles, automation. It is electrical engineers that will drive the company forward.
This laboratory, known as Vital Rig, is James's lair.
We have every single component that we connect to, from the temperature sensors to control the heating and climate system. We have the brand new laser headlights. We have the brand new touch steering wheel switches, all the way through to the rear reversing camera, which sits up here.
At the heart of the system is a touchscreen interface. James and his team call it the digital butler.
It basically replaces all of your functions controlled by regular buttons with a new touchscreen display. You have no need anymore to flick through menus. You just have everything encompass you in technology in a way that just feels part of the car.
High-tech electronics are now central to such complex new vehicles, and rigorous testing is essential if they're to succeed, which is where the Vital Rig comes in.
We can actually run a full simulated car system test, which allows us to simulate a driving vehicle without the need of having a vehicle. And we can also run those time after time again.
But not all testing can take place in a lab. America. Engineers are taking a prototype on a 1,000-mile road trip through a range of driving environments.
To try and balance the capability in all terrains, we need to go right from the beginning to understand how we're going to get the ideal geometry, apply the ideal technology.
In San Francisco, the 4th most congested city on Earth, the team needs to check that the car's new lightweight aluminium body helps reduce fuel consumption during typical stop-start urban driving. "81% of the body is aluminium, making the car far lighter, but just as strong."
We plan in right from the beginning what we want it to achieve as a car. It has to be beyond the norm. It has to have all conditions and environments that the customers will drive it in. They need to feel confident and know that the car is capable.
San Francisco's famous streets provide the perfect location to test the car's hill start function. Some roads here have an incline approaching 40%. Next up, Colorado. For every 1,000 feet of elevation, a car's engine loses 3% of its power in the ever thinner air. High-altitude testing makes sure that the car can cope. But there's another reason for coming to America. The desert. Temperatures here can exceed 40 degrees Celsius. Perfect for testing the car's cooling system. The team also needs to assess the durability of the suspension in the harshest of landscapes.
We start off with a clean sheet on this car. Everything from how far we need the suspension to move, how much loads that we want to put through all of the parts of the body structure, to get every ounce of traction that's available channeled through to the terrain you're driving on.
This road trip is just one of many. Prototypes of the car have successfully clocked up over 1 million miles worldwide.
It is incredibly stressful, but if it wasn't worth it at the end, I don't think any of us would be working just as hard as we'd really do, and people work round the clock to achieve what we want to achieve.
Creating a brand new car is more than a 9-to-5 job. And for designer Massimo, it's hard to switch off from work.
The fact that my wife works with me at Land Rover, it was very helpful in many ways. It was a bit more stressful in other ways. But I think what that allowed us to do is to discuss things outside of work in a different environment that led us to different conclusions. Would you like some tea? All right.
We have a very dynamic work relationship. We're both very passionate designers at heart. We want to see each other's thoughts or ideas succeed, and I think that we're a really great team.
First time we show this car, I really want to show it with the satin paint. I think we need to come out with something that really makes it look even more modern.
I know that we had been looking at doing that kind of satin, but maybe not quite gloss, based off of the foil paper. This one was really cool and blue, but we'd started to look at maybe doing some more textural and a lot more warm tones.
I think working with your partner, there's challenges to that, but I do think that what comes with that is a natural collaborative spirit and a trust that you probably wouldn't have with a lot of other colleagues. We probably know what the other would think before we even ask sometimes. You automatically get to conclusions faster.
This looks more exotic. I think the first time we show the car, it has to have that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets a bit in your way because you do want to switch off sometimes.
It'd be better for us to incorporate the milled aluminium, the bright silver.
But overall, I see that as a benefit, undoubtedly, because we've been able to bounce back and forth ideas.
Go. It'll look good, don't worry.
Well done. I would drink your tea, because it's probably an iced tea now. It really is.
Just like the clay modelers are the 3D design team's hands, we view the paint shop in a similar fashion. So we might go down to the paint shop and say, we're trying to recreate this effect, this finish, can you help us? They know the chemistry, so we're heavily reliant on them. They help us bring some of our ideas to light.
And those ideas can come from anywhere.
Amy, she has ideas, she has direction. It could be something on a sweet wrapper, it could be a piece of furniture. That's where the inspiration comes from in her world. That then has to be made feasible to put into production.
Right, so cool. Ah, good, you've kept the wrapper so we can check continuity. And then that was the master that you guys sprayed it now. It's a bit light, the master.
It is. The issue we've got is doing it on small areas is one thing,
yeah,
controllable.
It's still nice.
It is.
Yeah. When we develop paints for vehicles, we're not looking just for color spaces that we think are trending or necessarily just appropriate for the brand. We're looking for effects and colors that highlight the form to the best of their ability. So this paint, this is what we call Flux. It has a satin finish. We had to work really closely with our paint suppliers to develop this using the thinnest milled aluminum pigments that are on the market. You can see here on the panel, it has a lovely highlight, but then as the panel starts to move down, in the down angle, it goes quite dark.
This new Flux paint will be used on the car when it is finally revealed to the public.
This is really a showstopper. It makes the car look like a show car.
In Solihull, the 10,000-strong manufacturing team is gearing up for full production. This 300-acre factory site has been Range Rover's spiritual home since the brand's launch in 1970. The Velar's lightweight body will be made here in Jaguar Land Rover's multi-million-pound body shop, the largest of its kind in Europe. With the last prototype cars going down the production line, electrical engineer James is making some final checks.
You good, Scott? Right, pop the bonnet, Scott. We're just checking that all of the 50 or so electronic components of the car are communicating properly. It's looking great at the moment. These cars are quite far along in their development, so we've had very good quality control. We have an excellent team behind it, and all the software's going really well.
There are now fewer than 4 weeks until launch day, when the car will finally be unveiled.
The moment that the wraps come off, it is a very particular moment. It's really hard to describe that feeling, but it's definitely a strong emotion because it's all concentrated in that very moment. All the work that you've done, thinking about all the hours that you spent with the team working on this car and trying to get to where the car is now.
The moment you see that car like getting shown to the world, it's like presenting your baby. It's like taking your baby home to your parents.
And it's just like all the emotions, up and downs, and all the pain and the joy of these 3 years, all condensed in that moment. And when you see the reaction from the public, it's something that is absolutely priceless, but it's really difficult to describe. It's such a unique emotion.
Launch day. The car is safely under wraps. The designers and engineers' job is done. But for others, the pressure is still on. Chris Thorpe is a veteran of many vehicle launches. But this one is unlike any he's attempted before.
So we're in the final phases of build, just ahead of the reveal. We've got about an hour and a half to go before 1,000 people walk through the door and we reveal the new Velar to them. And this one feels particularly tense and special because we've got so little time to work with. We've had about 2 hours to go from open museum to show ready. It's all hands on deck.
The launch will be the culmination of years of hard work for Orla and James.
London Design Museum.
Great, thanks.
You excited?
Yeah. I've never been to a launch before, so quite excited to see what it's going to look like. I've never seen it without camo, actually.
For an event like this, I go out shopping with my wife. She picks me out something that's absolutely wonderful to wear, and I get to scrub up for a bit and look smart.
It's really exciting to get kind of dressed up to go down and to see something you've worked on be unveiled to the public for the first time.
Everything that you've been doing that you can't tell anyone about, you haven't been able to tell any of your friends, your family, or anything exactly at all what it's about, and finally you can explode with pride across Facebook and things.
The launch preparations are going down to the wire. The champagne is on ice, and 8,000 canapes are being prepared.
There is no time to talk tonight. After canapes finish, we have bowl food. Copy? Let's prepare it.
And one quarter top, please. Sorry, not just have a quick picture together. There we go.
Well, I was trying to get pictures of the celebrities. Where is
Get around the other side and
I
just
know.
take a
I can't. I'm too small.
That's right ahead for us, please. And thank you, right. And Jimmy.
Sorry. Are we going to go for a picture or just keep walking on the right camera? Yeah, I don't know. Sorry. It's cool to kind of get a glimpse of what might happen. There's an orchestra here, obviously something I'm really interested in. And the car is kind of behind this veil that's going up like 2 stories. So I think there'll be some kind of mechanical release of the veil. So I'm kind of guessing what might happen. But there's definitely a lot more people here than I expected as well. And quite a lot of famous people. So it's quite cool. It's a really great atmosphere. And I'm just kind of excited to see what happens.
"4 years in the making. This is the team's big moment."
Ladies and gentlemen, the Range Rover Velar. This is a vehicle that will stir the emotions. Modern, elegant, with a touch of glamour.
When I unveiled it, the cheering of everyone, and I could hear behind me, like, so the people just quietly, oh, it's amazing, it's stunning, it's awesome.
It definitely feels like, you know, the years and time hard work has really paid off when you get to see a finished car.
It's just incredible. This is the moment that I've been talking about, is where everything all comes together. You know, the 3-4 years you spend on it, it's all concentrated in this moment. When you see the face, the reaction, the smile on the face of everyone, really, it just doesn't get any better than that. It's a beautiful pleasure.
And the design team are here, and we're all celebrating together.
Well, it's a huge relief for a start that it all came together. Everything happened exactly as we planned it. We hadn't got one perfect rehearsal where everything was just in step, and tonight it just all came together. It's just fantastic. I'm so happy that it's done.
It's a big moment for the company. It's a big moment for the whole team. it's a big moment for Amy and myself, because this is really the first project that we started and finished together, if you see what I mean. And, you know, obviously the mind goes back to endless, you know, periods of times and so many nights talking about this vehicle.
Interrupting our private life.
Yes, but you know, trying to get this to what it looks today. And, you know, it's a great ride. I mean, you almost forget everything and you just enjoy the moment. So I think the personal level really matters.
It's really moving.
The reaction to the car, you can just feel it. I've done a lot of presentations to customers, new cars, but I could just feel it with this one. As soon as I walked on this stage, that this car hits those spots. I'm so proud of the designers and the engineers for working so collaboratively together to make this happen. And this is a special car, it really is. And I feel very privileged to be part of this fantastic team and this fantastic brand.
From initial sketch to finished vehicle, it's been an epic journey. The collaboration and creativity of a team of thousands has led to this. A brand new Range Rover.
More than any other car I think I've worked on, it has delivered the design vision. We start off with a concept that usually is very visionary, and it's very difficult to achieve that in practice. This car from day one, the car we've delivered, looks like a concept car. In some ways better, and that's fabulous.
It gets back to the thing I'm really proud about, is about all these people that have come together in whatever area of specialism they're in. If it's in electrical, connectivity, lighting, body engineering, the multifaceted groups that come together to make this happen. This vehicle has stirred a sort of real passion, I think, at a visceral level with everybody. And that's something, it's almost like you need to distill that and keep it for the next one.